My new K100D, kick things off with full mag +1 as always. Decocked, leaving that decocker on. It gives us 16 rounds in a rather portable gun with a long for fashion barrel, which I like. That means more muzzle energy, hitting the target harder, means longer sight radius, easier aiming. We're not at our normal range, so can't shoot steel. Got a piece of cardboard at about 12 yards. Let me just dump these rounds, see how this thing runs. "16 holes on cardboard." I'm happy. Man, these are smooth. Sad day and a great day. Retiring my carry gun of many years, the Grand Power K100. Great day because we're introducing my carry gun, probably for many years, a K100. As I explained in the tabletop video, I swapped over to this D model after a road trip. I always carry, drive with it on my hip. I carry strong side. Gets a little uncomfortable after a couple hours, right? So go to pull it out while driving and move it into the door card. And I noticed that the safety had slipped off. At some point, just gotten bumped. It could be that Grand Powers have full ambidextrous controls, so something bumping on that side could decock, or could bump the safety. Who knows? It's a gun that's got thousands of rounds through it. It's silky smooth because everything is well worn in, but the safety had come off. And then I find myself driving, holding a hot and loaded hammer back light trigger hammer fired gun. Little unnerving. Not much you can do about it while driving. Just put it in the door card and waited till I pulled over. But anyways, the point is I wanted to get decocker. So when I saw that these were available, also now with the nitride barrel versus stainless, personally I like the aesthetics of the stainless, but the nitride should be better. And I noticed the bluing is a little nicer on these newer guns. So what we're going to do is run it through our standard battery of tests because, well, if I'm going to carry this, I want to trust it. We're going to start off with some initial impressions, 10 shots from myself and 10 from Tia, talking about fit, controls, throw some rounds at a target, just kind of get to know the gun. Then you'll see each of the 4 different back straps that Grand Power includes in these guns, how it fits and works for my hand. Same thing with Tia's. We'll do what's for dinner just to demonstrate basic reliability, some accuracy shots, and go on from there. So to start things off, got my 10 rounds. Don't have the steel today. Unfortunately, we're at a different lane at the range we like to use, and it's too close to safely shoot steel. So we only have, this is maybe 12 yards down to that torso target. But I want to get to know the double action on this gun. Though I have many Grand Powers and know the guns well, I approach each firearm as unique. So I'm going to leave the lever down. Notice you can have up for cocked and locked, center is fire, down decocks. If you leave it down, it remains double action pull after pull. So I'm going to do that for a couple shots and get to know that double. Then I'm going to try, as my confidence grows, shooting some doubles, starting with a double action first shot, since that's how I intend to carry this gun. That is a long double. There we go. Advantage of that system, leaving that lever down, is I was able to just practice over and over again from double action. Now I've moved the safety to the center position. So I'm starting with the double action first shot, and we'll have that crisp, light, short, single action second shot. Move it back to the center. And one more if I've got enough ammo left. And that ended it. The controls are in familiar spots for me because it's, well, basically just a newer version of the same old gun. The levers have changed a little bit, but still have those ambi controls, which I love. As you just saw there, out of habit, I prefer to hit a right side magazine release with my middle finger than to stretch my thumb over to push it. That's one of the reasons why I like ambi magazine releases. Smooth as every Grand Power I've ever shot. Let's see what Tia thinks.
So given that Grand Power are one of Graham's favorite guns, I've shot several of these, and I can tell you this one is really comfortable in my hand already, and I'm excited to be able to use the double action, single action with the safety, because I'm looking to replace my carry gun, because when I bought, I wasn't thinking of those things. So yeah. Flinch. It is a long pull. And I'm going to take it up to the center and I really like this. I've shot a couple of different double action, single action since I've started considering replacing my carry gun, and the triggers always seem a little surprising, a little too light for my preference to carry once that you get on that single action, and I'm not feeling that with this. So far, I like this back strap. I'm curious to see what the other ones will feel like in my hand. So yeah, let's get to it.
So one of the cool things with the Grand Powers is the interchangeable back straps. Yes, there are lots of guns that have them, and sure, Grand Power's been doing them for longer than most, but you get 4 options. Now they are not labeled inside as to what size they are, but they definitely change. Like you see, this has a very straight back cut, whereas this is more rounded. This one's obviously the biggest, and swapping them out is rather simple. Some type of pry tool. We've got a real Avid AR-15 tool here. Just knock it loose and pull it off. They're a friction fit. But to show you sizes for both myself and Tia, now this being my carry gun, unfortunately Tia's demonstration is for demonstration only. We're going to go with the one that fits my hand because this is going in my holster. What comes on the gun has a rounded reach back here, which puts my thumb nicely on this shelf, protecting the magazine release from being bumped. I can get to the slide release, I can get to the decocker, cock, and safety. Yes, my thumb is backwards. That's just a weird physical thing. Resting my trigger finger, I can feel the takedown point right on the tip of my finger. This is overall a very comfortable grip for me. Let's see how it is for Tia.
So the same backstrap for me feels very comfortable. Obviously, I can get my whole hand on it. I can't quite reach the takedown, but I do still have a nice memory point with these 2 spaces in between here. My thumb rests nicely, and can't quite reach all of the I can reach it, but I have to reach for it, which means I have to then readjust my hand to get it back into a shooting position. But the safety and decocker, I can reach those really well. The hammer would be difficult for me unless I was using 2 hands.
So we're doing these in no particular order because, like I said, there's no clear label on them. With that flung out of the way, we're going to grab this big guy, which you can see immediately adds some extra back here. This is also the most difficult to get off because now your pry space is a lot larger. But you can see we've added quite a bit of girth, I guess you could say, made it longer. It does taper down towards the heel of the hand, which fits comfortably and pushes everything back. I can barely get the slide release, and my trigger finger resting is now behind that takedown point. However, when on the trigger, it's falling very naturally at the center of the pad. Perfect spot on single, on double. Yep, it's there as well, and I can pull it without jerking the gun left or right. So this is a good shooter's grip, if you will. Maybe not so much for carry daily use, needing to get access to the controls. And it does drive into the palm of my hand a little bit with that corner there.
So I didn't think about it until I watched Graham put this on here, how much wider this was going to be for my hand, and it sure does make a huge difference. My finger is now back here all the way. I'm not in between those two spots anymore. I do come onto the trigger nicely, and I don't think that it is as wide for me as it is for Graham, but that's because I'm not coming down as far because my hands are shorter. I can, but that was difficult. These are easy, and I could do it in a better grip. But now my trigger finger is definitely not in a good place at all.
Barely able to reach.
Barely. Would not be my grip.
All right, and getting the big guy off was indeed a bear, just because you've got all that extra space in there to clear. This little one, oh, that is so much skinnier. I don't know if it's just dramatic difference coming from the big one or not, but it's nicely rounded in here. It feels good in the palm. I can get to controls very easily. Trigger finger rests very nicely for double action. For single action, however, it's very easy for me to go too far over. My trigger finger rests now past the takedown point, so this is definitely a smaller grip. It's comfortable, maybe not perfect for me. So far, I'm still liking that first one.
So given that I have smaller hands, you would think that this would be perfect, but what I'm noticing is because it comes straight down here, I'm not getting any push into the pad of my hand, and it's making me feel like I wouldn't be able to control it. I am back between these 2 points, which is nice, and I am able to get on trigger. I can easily use all the controls and still stay on trigger.
And our fourth backstrap here, which seems to be a little broader at the base, maybe. Oh yeah, oh, that's kind of nice. It feels almost like for those of you that are larger handed, a Glock 19 that has a magwell aftermarket on it that expands at the bottom. It gives you a little more girth at the bottom. Kind of feels like it's tilting my wrist forward a little more. Obviously I can get to controls easy. My finger is once again resting on the takedown spot for coming to trigger in single action. Not difficult to be padded. In double action, about the same. This is all right. I don't know if I like the pressure it creates at the bottom of my hand or not. I think I'm still going to go with the first of the four.
So at first touch, I wasn't sure that I was going to like this backstrap, but after looking at it for a couple more minutes and holding it, trying to get, my thoughts on it, I like that it's narrower here and a little wider here, because I can give it a good squeeze. My hands are smaller, and that gives me plenty of room to come up here. I also am able to reach in between those two spots again. My finger does come onto the trigger nicely. I am able to reach the controls with just a little bit of adjustment for the slide release, but then I can come right back onto trigger again. I think I like this one.
But since it's Graham's carry gun, we're going back to the first one.
I'll get my own.
Time to see if the gun's hungry. It's What's for Dinner, our trademark test. We're going to run 10 different loads through this thing, starting off at 100 grain and making our way up to 158 grain. I want you to notice the bullet profile is different on each of these loads, different overall length, different point where the ogive, the curve to the full diameter, happens. We also have different case materials: aluminum, steel, brass, nickel-plated brass, black nickel-plated brass. And what we're looking to see is, will the gun feed the first round from slide lock? Does it generate enough energy to cycle the gun and feed a second? And is there enough energy to lock the slide open? This can be done with just 2 rounds. We do 3 to eliminate variables. Special thanks to our Ammo Squared supporters who make this test possible for us. After we get through that, we'll of course move on to the Nosler match and do some 5-shot accuracy tests and give you our closing thoughts on the Grand Power K100D. 2 notes before we get started in what's for dinner. 1, I apologize for the lighting. There's been this yellow ball thing in the sky. It's July here in Oregon. We're confused. The high is supposed to be 75 today. I don't know what's going on with that, but it hurts my skin. Second note is light loads like the Z-Clean 100 grain zinc lead-free ammo can be a challenge in Grand Powers because, well, the operating system doesn't leave a lot of room for error on low power. I've noticed when the guns are particularly dirty, or if a shooter is limp wristing, they can be sensitive to that. Kind of requires a bit more experience behind the gun sometimes, or hotter ammo, but they shoot so smooth. Since I plan on carrying this decocked, I will be doing all of mine, starting off with the double action first shot, and then the second and third round for what's for dinner being in single action. Is that fair for accuracy? I don't know. Is it fair for me and real world? Yes. So let's see how Z-Clean does on target number 1. Come on, pull. Man, that is a crisp single action after that double action. And I'd say that ammo and this gun are compatible. Load number 2 is another 100 grain frangible lead free. This one from Honor Defense appears to be using a pulverized copper compound instead. Decocked for that double action first shot. No pressure to keep up that performance, right? Target number 2. Gun cycled and it locked the slide to the rear. Third, it's the Many Hungry Puppies MHP monolithic hollow point from Norma, 108 grain. Good defensive load choice. It'd be interesting to see how it carries or runs in a gun that I intend to carry. If I can get this cluster out of my pocket. There we go. Decocked for the first shot for target number 3. Seems to have hit slightly higher. Could have been me, but most importantly, the gun cycled and it locked the slide back when empty. On target number 4, popular defensive load, Hornady Critical Defense, 115 grain. This is the kind with the eraser, in case you've got little brothers that need things to chew on. Now, there's a piece of polymer in there to prevent the hollow point from getting clogged when hitting cloth. Decocked. Target number 4. Gosh, that end of the double action, if you're trying to stage it, it's really tough. I'm going to break and restart and try that with more continuous movement. There we go. Cycled and locked the slide back. And for our 5th load, Blazers Aluminum. Aluminum cased. Aluminum expands and contracts at a different rate than brass does, which can cause some chamber issues in some guns. That's why we test it. It's also lighter and cheaper, which is why a lot of you shoot it. Target number 5, starting off on double action. More recoil. But performed well and locked the slide back.
So for target number 6, we've got Silver Bear. These are 115 grain.
Zinc washed steel case.
Zinc washed steel case. I am going to start on the double action also, because that I'm shopping for a new carry gun and I need to get familiar with this. It is definitely a long pull. And for circle 7, I have the Archon 124 grain. These are black nickel plated. Again, starting on double action. For circle number 8, we have the Remington Ultimate Defense brass jacketed hollow point in 147 grain. I definitely pulled that. I was anticipating that long pull a little too much. And for circle number 9, we have the Spear Gold Dot 147 grain. These are also thought I had something going. And for circle 10, hopefully a little redemption, we have PPU's Subsonic, and these are 158 grain. Usually those shoot softer and they gave the same recoil as everything else, but very manageable in this.
It looked like it was a little more recoil than normal.
Yeah. So for 5 shots from 7 yards, we're going to use the Nosler 147 grain. I'm not going to use double action. I want a little redemption. And I'll aim at the right circle square. Gun has potential.
You were shooting pretty quick.
I was.
I will also be using the Nosler 147 grain match for 5 shots from 7 yards. I'm also going to start off with a single action. Hopefully not going to disappoint you guys. This is the 37th video I've done on Gram Powers, so I'm a bit of a fan, hoping to have some pleasant results here. Let's see if I can recreate the way we started What's for Dinner on that left circle square. I'll take that.
So my thoughts on the K100, this thing just feels natural in my hand. The double action is stiff, but the single action isn't so light that it sneaks up on you after that. You can still control it. My shooting is following the day after the 4th of July. Whether that's a good excuse or not, I don't know. But I really enjoy this. Like I said, it's comfortable. It just feels natural to shoot it. Unfortunately, it's too long for me to carry. Just in this short demonstration, though, I feel so much more comfortable in going with the double action, single action for my carry gun. And I think I've figured out what I want. Even if I can't have this one, it'll be close.
So, totally biased. I freely admit up front, this is a gun that I purchased. It was not sent to us. In fact, I'm not even sure the importer is paying attention to these guns at all. But I have been for a number of years and love them. I'm hoping this video showed you why. 4 back straps to find something that fits your hand. Complete ambi controls so you can swap hands. In fact, maybe if you stick around, we'll try demonstrating and I'll run it left-handed. I don't know. But seriously, the comfort in these, not just in ergonomics, but that rotating barrel really does make for a smooth shooter. We did a test of the hammer fired versus striker fired, looking at recoil to see if there's a difference, since the Q100 and K100 are the most similarly paired striker and hammer fired guns that I know of. And the striker was smoother in the slow motion, but that doesn't make the hammer fired any less smooth. For me, having that safety to be able to put my thumb on the hammer if I'm going to carry cocked and locked when putting into a holster, I know that nothing is going to set the gun off. It can't. Even if the safety's off, if my thumb's on the hammer, I have control of the gun. Being able to run it decocked for absolute assuredness, plus that extra delay, because am I a combat veteran? Yes. Have I been through more than a dozen different shooting courses? Yes. Was I a competitive shooter? Yes. I still prefer double action for my first shot for carry, because I know exactly how excited things can get. I know exactly how the most minuscule, stupid thing you stub your toe on or distracts you or alerts you when you're fearing for your life can make you want to twitch. So that double action is going to be my first shot, and the K100D gives me the chance to do that, as well as leave it in double action only for training to make sure those double action shots are always good shots. Added bonus, Graham might make a fool out of himself. I'm actually left-handed. I don't shoot left-handed very often because most guns aren't set up that way. But in honor of, well, to quote Dima from Center T, we're going to change hands, change feet. And in honor of Grand Power being fully ambi, I'm going to shoot a group 7 yards, 5 shots, left-handed with this gun. See how it does. A little nervous about this. Sure, it's not live, but as many of you have noticed, we don't edit either. Totally pulled that one. So the gun still works left-handed. I work moderately left-handed. Truth be told, it hasn't been since the last Center T course that I shot left-handed. But there you have it. Oh, let me finish dropping the mag in the slide and decocking it all left-handed, because you can with the Grand Power.
I'm okay with embarrassing myself, and something you may not know is I can be competitive. I'm going to do the left-handed thing. Maybe. It's tricky. I'm not left-handed at all. Nope. Change foot, change hands. I'll take it. What I should have done though is probably close the other eye too.